Hi everyone, I'm Allison,
And I'm Jill.
and this is Fly as One, the YouTube series where we talk all things field hockey. Today we are joined by Maddie Zimmer. Maddie Zimmer is from Hershey, Pennsylvania. She's a midfielder on the U.S. national team. Her first cap was on September 27th, 2019. She recently won two Player of the Match awards at the FIH Olympic qualifiers. She came in second at the FIH Olympic qualifiers with Team USA. She was an All-American in 2021 and 2022. She won a bronze medal at the 2021 Junior Pan American Championship. She is a 2021 NCAA national champion and won the NCAA tournament most outstanding player in the same year. And she's the 2020-2021 spring COVID season Big Ten freshman of the year. Without further ado, let's welcome Maddie Zimmer. Thank you to Maddie Zimmer for joining us. So we're gonna start with the questions. I think me and Jill are both terrified for our first question. This comes from Ashley Sessa, your fellow national teammate, and she asks, "What's your favorite funny memory on tour?"
Oh wow. I mean, there's so many. Um, oh wow, Ashley, what a question. Okay, well, one of the funniest memories, of course, involves Jenny Rizzo. We play a lot of soccer circle as like a warm-up activation type exercise, and we were playing it in India by the pool. Um, and we somehow ended up kicking the ball into the pool. And we didn't want to get in the water because it was cold. And so Jenny decided to throw the inflatable life ring around the ball, but the ball was already really close to the edge. And so she ended up throwing it and splashing Carly Kisha all over. She was like soaking wet. And it was just like such a ridiculous moment. Like we were almost ready to get the ball and she like threw the ring and it was just really funny.
So this question is from Kinley, who plays for AGH Field Hockey, and she wants to know who inspired you to be where you are today.
Wow. I mean, there are a couple field hockey players specifically from the 2016 Olympic team. I mean, I specifically remember really looking up to Katie Bam, Lauren Crandall, Rachel Dawson, specifically those three that I remember watching and playing. And wow, I just really wanted to be like them. I thought they were like really good and really cool. So I think just being able to watch them like all the time and especially at like the Olympics, which is really cool for me when I was growing up. They really inspired me.
So that
Awesome.
actually ties in amazingly to our next question, which was the plan with ordering the
That's
questions that way.
good.
Um, so you did an interview, I think once you got back with Lancaster Online, and you talked about how your freshman year of high school you were at Spooky Nook, I'm assuming for NITs. Um, and you saw the 2016 Olympic team, which made you realize that was kind of a dream for you to be an Olympian. How do you think that living in Pennsylvania and kind of around all of this elite level of field hockey has affected your desire and your ability to play at the elite level?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so amazing how many opportunities you have in this area to play hockey, be involved, watch it. It's just amazing, like that we have access to it in central Pennsylvania to be specific. And yeah, growing up, I would go down to the Nook a lot and watch a lot of the national teams games. And so just kind of seeing that level of play, like almost on a regular basis, was really helpful for me when I was trying to decide. I was a three-sport athlete at one point, and I kind of had to pick what I wanted to do. And I honestly think that having access to such amazing hockey resources in the area helped me narrow down my choice personally to play hockey.
Awesome. This kind of connects back to Jenny Rizzo. So both of you attended Hershey High School, and you both played for the Alley Cats. What does it mean to share that experience in this journey with someone who, like, you come from the same high school and you played at the same club?
Yeah, it's so cool. So Jenny and I went to Hershey together, but we never actually played together at the same time. She graduated before I got there. But I mean, I like grew up watching her play, and I was intimidated by her because she was so good. But I mean, she was such a nice person, especially to someone like myself who was pretty scared to go play with like the older girls. So having her, at that point in my life, and then kind of reuniting with her now has just been amazing. I mean, she's an even better teammate, believe it or not, than she was back then. And it's just such a joy to play with her and to be around her, on and off the field. So it was just really cool that we also are just from the same area. I don't really know how that happened, but it's so awesome to be able to share like all these experiences with her.
Awesome. And I think too, like, especially like for the national team, I think we've talked about this before, where it's like there's these little clusters of like the Dayverdine sisters come from Penn Manor. Keely and Ashley like both went to Twin Valley. It's just so cool to see like have these little pairs coming from different places.
Yeah, absolutely. And even like playing against some of those girls, like I played against Emma and Brooke for most of my high school career. And so it's funny to, spend so much time like trying to figure out how to beat them that now it's like, okay, now we have to like all play together. But it's such a seamless transition. And, when you're surrounded by such great players and teammates, it really makes it easy to have fun and to do well.
Awesome. So we're going to transition kind of to the qualifying tournament in India. So what was that environment like playing there? Is it anything you can compare to playing in college, any game you played in college or other pro league matches?
Um, so the environment in India is honestly one of a kind. I personally haven't experienced anything like that. I guess the closest would be when we played England in London this past Pro League season. Just in terms of just the sheer passion for the game. I know, we're trying to grow it a lot more here in the US, but I mean, it's been so popular for so long in India that, people who aren't even super into sports just understand what hockey is and are still so excited for like the Indian team when they're playing. And so just being able to play, I think it was like 13 games in India, which is really, really unique experience. It was really enjoyable just to see how into it everybody got, especially our last game. We played in front of like 16,000 people or something, which is definitely something I've never experienced. So it's just really cool that like people can get excited for hockey like on that level.
When you play, do you tune out the crowd, or do you kind of feed off of it? Like, what's your kind of your vibe, I guess?
Yeah, I think for me, I definitely like to feed off of their energy. Like I'm not gonna let it intimidate me, but it's gonna kind of be there to like motivate me and kind of bring me energy. But I mean, at the same time, I'm also used to playing in front of crowds of like no people and just like my parents. So, um, it's a lot of intrinsic motivation. You can't always rely on like a crowd because most times it probably won't happen. But it is super cool to be able to play in those types of environments and kind of feed off of all of the energy that the crowd is bringing.
During the Olympic qualifiers, you won two Player of the Match awards. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you guys I know you guys kind of line up on the side. So did you guys get told beforehand, and what was your reaction when you got told?
So we like at the end of the game, we kind of come together, we're like hugging, celebrating. And I just kind of get tapped on the shoulder, like, hello, come over here. I was like, oh, okay. I like didn't really know what was going on until I like walked over there. I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now.
Okay. What were the emotions and your first reaction when you saw Abby Tamer score the game-winning goal that ultimately qualified you guys for the Olympics?
Wow. I mean, wow, that's hard to put into words. Like I don't want to say disbelief because we obviously believe that we could do this, but just that moment of like, oh my God, like we just scored, we're ahead. And it's so funny because I think if you watch like our reactions, like we're so excited and then immediately we're all like, okay, we have to focus, like 5 minutes left, like no getting ahead of ourselves. Which is really funny because we're so excited, but also like we knew we still had to finish the job. There's plenty of teams that have been in that situation. We have been in that situation before where we get so excited and then we immediately give up a goal. So it was a mix of like, oh my gosh, like we're so close, but also like we have to stay focused and disciplined enough to, see it through.
So after you qualified and kind of, took a 500,000 pictures, who was the first person that you called, and like what was kind of their reaction?
Yeah, so I didn't have any data in India because I wanted to save my parents money. But on that day, I did, turn my data on and I immediately called my parents, which is funny because they didn't answer the first time because they were busy calling other people about the fact that we qualified. So they had to like call me back. And I'm like, hello, like we just qualified. So that was really funny. But I mean, immediately I was like, oh my gosh, I have to talk to them, even though they had obviously watched the whole thing. Just to be able to share that excitement immediately after the fact with them was just amazing. They're my biggest support system. And it's kind of incredible to see for them to see how far like I've come and like that we've come as a team. So
Um, we kind of touched on this before a little bit already, but some of these players on this team you've come up through the pipeline with, like you've played with them through U16, you through U18. So what does it mean to be able to share this moment and accomplishment with these girls?
yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. We were just talking to Leah Krause and Emma DeBurdine because, well, Emma and I went on our very first U17 tour together, and Leah was on that tour. And we were just talking about how like crazy it is that, when we were like 15, 16 years old, and now, we've come all this way and we're playing together again, but this time, it's to qualify for the Olympics. Um, and it's honestly such a privilege to be able to experience, kind of both ends of the spectrum with some of those girls. You start out and you're like a little teenager just trying to figure out how to play some sort of international hockey, and then all of a sudden you're playing at like the highest level together and celebrating these big moments. And I mean, it's so cool to be able to experience that with a lot of these girls.
I just have one more question before we go into the college. So you know how you mentioned kind of like when you were trying to compose yourselves after a teamer had scored the goal. What do you think was different in this tournament for you guys in terms of like not having that letdown and being able to play like the full 60 minutes that was able like to get you to qualify?
Yeah, definitely. We worked a lot in the couple past months, just mentality, just working on our mental strength individually as a team, relying on our team culture. And I genuinely think that that's what kind of carried us through that tournament. Yes, we're all very skilled hockey players and we got technically and tactically better, but I think that our ability to lean on our culture and our values, and just be able to stay like mentally sharp in each game for the entire game really was kind of the key to our success.
Okay, so we're gonna switch to a couple of questions about college. They don't really have to do with college, but they sort of have to do with college. They're Northwestern
They
themed.
just mentioned
That's
Northwestern.
good. That's good.
Yeah, so at Northwestern and playing college hockey in general, you get to play with and against a lot of international students. Do you think that having the internationals in college hockey pushes you to play at a higher level, just like across the board?
I mean, absolutely. Obviously the American game has, I think developed pretty nicely in the last couple of years, and it's continuing to grow. But I think that just being able to bring in a couple of those international players just really ups the level of competition, the skill, the speed of the game. And I think it's just beneficial for, everybody. They get to play, a lot of games with us. We get to, kind of learn from them and likewise. So I definitely enjoy it. I love all of my international teammates. So I'm really happy that, they decided to kind of take a leap of faith over here in America. And, just thankful for them for helping me, become a better player.
So there's a lot of connections of Northwestern field hockey through USA. So just like Tracy Fuchs being able to play with Ashley Sessa, and Lauren Wattis will be joining the training squad down in Charlotte. So what does it mean to like have this like Northwestern stamp or just share it with these people at Northwestern and through USA field hockey?
I mean, it's super awesome to just be able to have so many people who are connected with Northwestern also participate in the US system. I mean, Ashley transferring is going to be a big boost for us this upcoming fall. Lauren coming down and training. I know Annabelle is still in the system, Olivia Bent Cole. we just have such a variety of players that can play at the highest level, which is so unique, I think, especially because we all still are in college. And so it's just really cool to have all of us, and then also have Tracy, who has literally done every, award and game possible at like the highest level. So being able to rely on her at Northwestern, on tour with the national team, it's just a really unique privilege. And it's so awesome to be able to like have her as kind of like a touchstone, when you're, trying to figure out some hockey stuff. She's just so knowledgeable about like the game and everything.
Do you think it was easier for you to like be able to like want to take that like waiver year and go and train knowing that like you had her in your corner? Tracy?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Because we had a discussion, that like summer and like spring, and this is a possibility. And I kind of asked her where she stood on it, and she was like, "Oh, you should absolutely go." Like, she is so cool in the fact that she understands that there is no higher honor than representing your country on like that sort of international stage. And so to have her back me up on that, like I had no regrets. Obviously I missed my teammates and they had such a great run and I wanted to be a part of that, but just like her faith in me and like her support throughout the entire year really has just been unbelievable. Definitely would have been significantly more difficult to take the year off and all of that without her behind me.
Now you guys can go win a national championship in the fall right after the Olympics.
I hope so.
All right. So the last question before we get into the fun questions is looking forward to this May-June Pro League series and in general training for the Olympics. Is there anything specifically that you're planning on like working on, focusing on in the upcoming practices?
Good question. So I think for me personally, I just skill-wise, I'm involved in both the attacking and defensive penalty corners, which prior to last May, I had no involvement in whatsoever. So I just want to continue to work on developing those types of skills on the field. I play a pretty big role in just transition. I know I'm a right defender, but I really am kind of a midfielder, just going up and down the field. So just continuing to work on fitness in that area, because it is a lot of running and I want to be able to stay in and help my teammates out. So just kind of trying to focus on those specific areas and then just continue to develop as a whole.
All right, so let's I guess start with the fun questions. Good. So our first question, since you're from Pennsylvania, we have to ask, do you prefer Wawa or Sheetz, and what's your go-to order at whatever one you choose?
Well, it's Wawa, and if anybody else tells you otherwise, they're wrong. My go-to order in Wawa is always a hoagie, Wawa hoagies. They have Hoagie Fest for a reason. They're known for their hoagies. And just a hoagie, and then they have nice little smoothies too, but you got to get them with yogurt because otherwise they don't taste as good. So that is definitely my go-to order.
Nice. Do you have any game day superstitions?
I'm not a very superstitious person. I mean, there are little rituals I like to do. Like I'll just, listen to music on the way. But other than that, I try not to be too superstitious, just in case, if I have too much of like a ritual, then like if something goes wrong, I don't want to be mentally out of it for the rest of the game. So I try to keep it as simple as possible, just kind of do whatever I feel like I need to do for that specific game, and stick to it.
Okay. Do you have a show or a recent movie recommendation?
Well, I actually just started watching The Walking Dead with my parents. But I am such a big baby when it comes to that type of stuff that I have to watch it with one of them at all times. But if I watch it alone, it has to be during the day. I can't watch it at night. But that's what I've been watching while I'm at home for now.
That's so relatable. I was talking about something like a scary movie or something the other day, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I could watch that now. But
Yeah,
you are home.
exactly. Exactly.
My parents. Okay, so I know from just following on social media that you're a big Swiftie, so we have to ask you some
Hmm.
Taylor Swift questions. So just some thoughts on the announcement of her new album. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I get so excited every time she releases an album. I know everybody was anticipating that it was going to be Reputation, Taylor's version. So for it to be a completely new album, and it looks like it's gonna like rip my heart to shreds. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think like the day it happened, me and Allison were like, a whole new album? Wait, I thought this was supposed to be Reputation. What are you
I
doing?
know.
All right, do you
Uh,
want to ask this one?
yeah, so I kind of came up with this little game. So it's called Pass, Shoot, Score, and I give you like three
Okay.
things, and score is basically the best,
Okay.
shoot second, and then pass. Okay.
Okay.
So out of these three, so Pass, Shoot, Score, these three Taylor Swift albums. Debut, Fearless, and Speak Now.
Okay. Score, Speak Now, Shoot, Fearless, Pass, Debut. Sorry, Debut.
I I actually like, okay, sorry to get off track, but I feel like she's not going to like remake, like not remake, but like re-release Debut. I feel like she can't.
I mean, I would love it because that's like the only country I've ever really been into was like when she was in her country phase. So I would be really interested to see what's like in the vault there. You know what I mean? Like I'm not really
Yeah.
into country music, but for Taylor, I will be.
Yeah. Like I just like, because like she doesn't make much of that. And then like
Mhm.
what's in the vault for that out? Like, could you
Yeah,
imagine? Oh,
I
that's
know.
right. That's like a wormhole. Sorry. Okay. Oh, so then our other past shoot and score we have 1989, Folklore, and Evermore.
Ooh, okay. Um, Score 1989. The vault tracks are just perfection.
Yes. Yes.
Um, Shoot Folklore. That's very close though. I love Folklore. And then Pass Evermore. Sorry, Evermore.
All good. We won't kick you off
Yeah.
this time.
Okay, good.
Just kidding. Just kidding. And then I guess just like what is your favorite song or album if you had to pick a, or you could do both.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I honestly don't think I could pick a singular song because it just so depends on my mood and what I'm really into. But I would definitely have to say probably anything from 1989 is like a safe bet for like favorite song. Um, Favorite album though, I am a big Reputation girl. I love Reputation. Went to the Eras tour and went as Reputation. So
Nice.
that might be my favorite album, but I think some of my favorite songs are on 1989, which is interesting.
I think I liked like Reputation more like after seeing her sing some of those live.
Hmm.
I wasn't like a huge, and then I was like, no, these are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1989 is my favorite because I went to the concert for 1989, but rep is up there.
It's
It
so
really
good.
depends on the day.
I know. I was actually really hoping she would announce every recording, but
Me
I'll
too.
stick with the new album. That's fine.
Alrighty. So unfortunately, this one does not have to do with Taylor Swift.
Okay.
But do you have any advice for young players who want to be Olympians in the future?
Wow. Yeah. I think I actually answered this question a couple times when I was at NITs the other weekend. I just think just finding ways to continue enjoying the game. You know, the game is only fun as long as you can keep finding those moments of joy. And, you know, especially when, you know, you're on a tour in India for 2 months, you know, I really had to go back to like what I really enjoy about the game and kind of, you know, latch onto those and remind myself like why I'm grateful to be able to play. And I think that is what helps a lot of people, you know, have longevity in this sport. Obviously, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be playing it, and especially not at this level. So I just think, you know, it can be overwhelming, especially, you know, when you're in high school and you're trying to figure out all of this stuff and you've got a lot going on and everything. But I think being able to kind of break it back down into like the basics, like you know, I love hockey. I'm going to enjoy playing it. I think that's kind of what got me here today, was just my continued love for the sport.
So living like in Illinois and like near Chicago, do you have like a favorite like place you like to go on like sightseeing or like off day kind of thing?
Hmm, that's a good one. Um, wow, I mean, I haven't been in Chicago in forever, so I'm like trying to remember. I mean, honestly, just specifically at Northwestern, we have a lovely little like grass area along the lake where you can sit there and like look at the city and look over the water. And I mean, that is just, I miss that a lot. I'm looking forward to doing that again this next summer. But it's just really nice to, when you have just some time off, just go chill by the lake, bring a book, just hang out with your friends. It's just very pleasant.
Yeah, those are all the questions we have for Maddie Zimmer today. Thank you for joining us.
So thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you so much, Maddie, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed her interview. I hope she enjoyed joining us. We had a lot of fun. And now on to the post show where we talk about what's going on in field hockey. So I guess we can start with the Olympics, FIH. I don't really know who announces them, but the Olympic pool stages schedule was announced. So we start off our Olympics with Argentina, which is going to be a rematch of the Pan Americans. And that game is on July 27th at 1:45 p.m. It is one of the only games we are blessed, or Eastern Standard Time. It is one of the only games that we are so blessed to not have to be up before 8 a.m. I'm excited for this game. I think that this is really gonna like set the tone for the entire Olympics. Kind of see how we do.
I agree because I think when they played at the was that Pan American Games where they came in second, I feel like that really kind of set the tone for the USA for them the qualifiers that they could hang with Argentina, that even though it was a close 2-1 match, like the game really didn't get away from them. And I think this is a good kind of first test about an opponent they're very familiar with. And I think you're right, a good tone setter.
The next game is July 29th at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time against Spain. I'm not really familiar with this Spain side.
Neither am I.
I don't really remember watching them play recently. So after that, the next game is Australia on July 31st at 7:15 a.m. once again.
Another early morning.
Yeah, so we just played Australia in the Pro League. We did lose both of those games. Although I will say, I think Australia is going to come out on top of the pool in general. Like, I think they're going to be the number 1 seed in the pool.
I think so too.
So I think that we'll put up a good fight against them, but I wouldn't be too like deterred if we don't win that match.
Yeah, I feel like they have been a team that has kind of been improving every time they kind of step on the field. So that would be more of like, how close can they keep it, score, like doing good things well, to kind of prepare for that next match against Great Britain, who they at times have had a little more success against.
Yeah, and we'll get to see them play Great Britain in the May-June series. They'll be playing them, so I think we'll get a little bit of a better picture during that series of how we compare to them. And then after Great Britain, their last game is August 3rd, once again at 7:15 a.m. Against South Africa. Now, South Africa is also one of those sides that I'm not as familiar with. Just like thinking back in recent history, I don't really know when the last time we played them was. So it will be interesting to see kind of throughout the tournament where they're standing. Because I mean, on like looking at the overall pool, it might come down to that game on who gets the last seed going into the next coming out of the pool stages. Now, I think something that's very important to note about this tournament is that if we are in 4th place going into the knockout stages, we are essentially screwed. And I don't say this lightly, and I know this is going to sound really bad. I'm a big fan of USA field hockey, but we will be playing the Netherlands. So that brings us into the stat of the day, which is 55 goals. In the 12 games that have been played in this FIH Pro League so far by the Netherlands, they have scored 55 goals, which is almost 5 goals per game. It's 4.58 and some change. They have only allowed 10 goals. They have not lost a single game. So to more than likely be on top of, I believe they're in Pool A and we're in Pool B. They're going to be on the top of their pool. How the tournament works, how most tournament works, are the fourth seed has to play the first seed in the first round. We do not want Team USA playing Netherlands in the first round.
No, not at all.
If it's a 1-2, it's the gold silver match. Sure, with that happening, I think
like,
this
all the
is
way.
a US side that really thrives under pressure. I think we saw that a lot in the qualifiers, beating some teams that we didn't expect them to beat.
Definitely.
So this team thrives under pressure. So in a gold silver match, I think that they really would have a very well contested game. I don't know if they would have the momentum that early in the tournament. So if we want them to be in medal contention, which obviously most USA fans want a medal for our team, we really need to be third or higher in our pool coming out of the pool stages. So that's something to note going into the Olympics. So speaking of national teams, we have the junior high performance team series for the U16 and U18 Four Nations Cup came out earlier today. And this is Monday, the 11th. So this tournament starts March 26th and it's being played in Europe. I believe it ends April 2nd. Right now we don't have streaming information for this yet, but I will update you guys if we figure it out. So the U16 team is playing Germany, Belgium Red, and the Netherlands. Belgium has 2 teams. I mean, it's U16, so I can't really speak on how teams are. I mean, Netherlands and Germany are always amazing. So I could assume that they'll be pretty good at the U16 level as well. But I mean, it's U16, so it kind of changes. So a couple of players on this roster stood out to us. First, we have, and I apologize to all the players who I'm going to say your names wrong. It's just inevitable at this point. First we have Marissa from Central Penn, and Nora Kirsch. I'm so bad with names. From Mainline Mayhem. Both players have really stood out to me recently. Nora's a goalkeeper, and I think she's just very good. And both of them are freshmen. They're class of 2027. And I think that they're going to be 2 highly sought after recruits when it comes time for them to be recruits. But both of their playing styles really excite me, and I'm excited to watch them play at the national level.
Yeah, so 2 players that stood out to me from the roster are Chase Strom and Jack Shaw. Chase Strom was actually named NFHCA Club Player of the Month after scoring 28 goals and tallying 1 defensive save. I saw her play a couple times during the high school season for Lower Dolphin, and she was really impactful as a freshman. And then Jack Shaw, another very impactful player. She helped lead Villa Maria Academy to a state title this season. So all 4 players, I think, have a real push and chance to be very impactful on that U16 team.
And then going into the U18s, we have 2 teams competing. We have white and blue, and then they're playing Belgium, Spain, Poland, Ireland, and France. It's still considered the Four Nations Cup, I believe, at this level. However, that is more than 4 teams. So maybe we should go back to elementary school and learn how to count. But all jokes aside, so for white, we have both of these are extremely loaded rosters. But for white,
They are.
Once again, I'm going to apologize because I'm going to say half of these names wrong. We got Reese Antisberger, who's a UNC commit, Coco Courtwright, who's a UNC commit, Jenna Narleski, who's a UNC commit, Caroline Reyes, who's a Virginia commit. We got Reese Diario, who is uncommitted, but she's competing at the indoor Pan Americans, which literally ends like 4 days before this tournament starts, which is kind of insane. We have Shay, who's a Duke commit, and we have Jordan Byers, who is an Iowa commit. And then on the U18 blue, we have Sabrina McGrowdy, who is an Iowa commit. She played in New Jersey, and she was just like amazing to watch this past season. Paige Cornelius, who's a Harvard commit, and I believe she is either the number 1 or the number 2 goal scorer in all of American high school field hockey this past season. So she's really exciting to watch. We have Ava Meehan, she's a UNC commit and she's a UNC legacy. So I'm excited to see her. Malia Weber, who's a UNC commit. We have little Scooby,
Little Scooby.
Merritt Scooby, definitely saying that wrong, who is Annabelle Scooby from Northwestern's little sister. In my personal opinion, is that Annabelle should have been the NFHCA Player of the Year this year, but that's just my personal opinion. And little Scooby is a UNC commit, which very interesting there. Danielle Murphy, who's a St. Joe's commit, Riley Savage, who's a Virginia commit, and Sailor Malone, who is a Michigan commit. So these are some pretty stacked rosters.
Yeah, this is pretty loaded. Just from high school this season, I saw Malia Weber play for Emmaus, and she has some serious goal scoring ability. So it will be pretty cool to see her in this kind of tournament. Danielle Murphy, I think, is another player. So she plays for Lower Dolphin as well, and I just am like impressed with her like every time she's on the field. She just has this really good hockey IQ and a really smart player. So I love these like seeing all these players being able to like play together and all like
Yeah.
different what they bring to the table, and I just think it will be really cool to see.
Yeah, I like that. You get a lot of players from different areas. I mean, yes, our majority of these girls Pennsylvania players.
Yes.
However, we do get like some New Jersey kids. There's I know at least one player from Illinois on the roster. So you do get a little bit of a mix. And it's fun to see it at the high school level while they're still younger. And then also like we're gonna see realistically what UNC is gonna look like this fall because a lot of these players are going to
Yeah.
UNC together.
You got
So we'll get to
6.
see we'll get to see some bonds starting to form, and then we'll really get like kind of a good idea of like what UNC will be looking like in the fall.
And kind of back to like what when we were talking to Maddie earlier in the episode, just kind of like this is where it kind of all starts. This is where you play with these players and you form these bonds. And yes, they're gonna go off and play at other colleges, but these are gonna be the things that maybe create bonds and memories for them so that at the 2028 or the 2032 these will be who are watching, and it will have all started here. So I think that's really cool to kind of like see that from the beginning.
Yeah. Speaking of Pennsylvania teams, you are covering the PA Senior Cup. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'll be covering the PA Senior Cup March 23rd and 24th, the end of this month. So it's going to be a bunch of high school seniors from Pennsylvania who will be competing against each other in kind of a tournament like style. I believe there are 8 teams, and they will be competing on Saturday, and then Sunday will be a championship game. So that's going to be really awesome to see. There we got players from Lower Dolphin, Manheim Township, Palmyra, Emmaus, Ole Valley, a lot of players who won district and state titles this year. So it'll be really awesome too, because kind of like this, you'll see players of committed to different places getting to kind of play against each other one last time.
I think every time you pronounce another school, I realize that I've been saying all these schools wrong for like the last 4 years. So maybe I'm the one who needs to go back to kindergarten.
Maybe.
So we're kind of in the season where coaches start changing. It's kind of a domino effect that happens every year. And one that really stood out to me, it got announced recently, is Belle Bresler from Maryland. She just graduated from there. Is going to be the assistant coach at Yale. Yale's coaching staff, considering how Yale has been playing, no offense to Yale, I've played on your field 500 million times. I love you guys. However, their coaching staff includes Melissa Gonzalez too. So they have an extremely stacked coaching staff.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they're going to become a little bit more of a competitor at Harvard and Princeton this fall. Just because their coaching staff is so stacked that like who wouldn't want to play for these players?
Right.
So I'm excited to see that. And then our final thing for today is the spring game of the week. I only have one game on the Google Doc, so that's going to be the game of the week. But it actually is a good one. It's Temple versus Delaware, and it's at Temple. This game will be played on the 17th at noon. The last time these two teams saw each other was on October 15th, 2023. Temple did win this one, which was honestly a little bit of a surprise because historically Delaware has won 23 of these games versus Temple winning 13. And Delaware had had a 5-game winning streak dating back to 2015 prior to this win in the fall. I'm excited to see these two teams match up against each other and see how it goes, and see if, Temple could pull off another win, or see if Delaware bounces back. Obviously, it's spring season, so it has little to no weight in what's going to happen in the fall. But I think it's just really exciting to see kind of this rivalry going. These teams have played each other since the 1980s, which is well before any of us were born. So I think it's fun to watch those two teams play each other.
Yeah, it's always good when you can get teams together and play like this, but it kind of has a little more behind it. So that should be a good matchup to see.
Yeah. So that does it for us this week. We will be announcing our guest for next week on my Instagram page, The Field Hockey Analyst. If you don't already follow it, it will be up probably Friday in the stories, and you can submit your fan questions for a shout out from us and to get to ask an Olympic hopeful and a question. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a good day.
Bye.